Our first game is the gloved hand illusion. This game involves a participant's real hand and a fake gloved hand. The goal of this illusion is to make the participant feel like the gloved hand is part of them. To do this, both hands are put next to each other, divided by a barrier and cover. The hands are then synchronously stroked with paintbrushes for a couple of minutes. The participant will slowly start to perceive the gloved hand as their own as it is continuously stroked for a couple of minutes. Then, when a painful stimulus is applied to the gloved hand, the participant jerks their hand back in pain as they believe the gloved hand was part of their body. Psychologists hypothesize that the brain maintains an internal representation of the body, which aids in positioning and movement amongst limbs. When a limb is perceived to be of one's own, the persistent neutral representation might lead to the sense that the limb is actually of one's own. This generates sensation to move the limb in response to painful stimuli, despite the lack of sensory feedback. The ability of the brain to form and recognize synaptic connections is defined as neuroplasticity. When combining visual information with touch sensations, the brain mistakenly concludes that the gloved hand must be a part of the person's body. Neuroplasticity also explains why many amputees experience the phantom limb effect, the ability to feel sensations in a limb that no longer exists. In this game, participants will view a list of words that are printed in the same color as the meaning of the word. They will be timed to correctly identify the color printed in the word. The participants will then view a list of words that are printed in a different color than the meaning of the word. Participants will be tasked with naming the color of the word, not the word itself, as fast as they can.
Yeah, just the color.
Okay. That is red, blue.
The participant named the list of words that were printed in the same color as themselves in about 17 seconds.
Ready?
Yellow. Yellow.
Participant named the list of words that were printed in a different color than the meaning of the words themselves in about 20 seconds. This delay is known as the Stroop effect. The Stroop effect refers to the delay in reaction times between congruent, where the color is the same meaning as the word, and incongruent stimuli, where the color does not match the meaning of the word. This happens because reading, a more powerful automatic process, takes precedence over color naming, which requires higher cognitive demands. This explains the difficulty to name the font color in words that are colors. Scientists and psychologists have used the Stroop effect to measure various factors such as processing speed, cognitive flexibility, and selective attention. They have discovered that the Stroop test shows increased interference in various psychological disorders such as dementia, schizophrenia, ADHD, and depression. Participants are instructed to click a button when the screen changes color. The time between the screen color change and their click will be measured. 5 trials will be completed to ensure validity and reliability. Participant had an average reaction time of 234 milliseconds. This indicates a healthy reaction time. The simple reaction task measures the basic cognitive processes of perception and response execution. It measures the elapsed time between the stimulus onset and the individual's response to elementary cognitive task. The individual first detects the change in color through cones, photoreceptor cells that give us color vision, in the retina. The photoreceptors then process that information by relaying visual information through bipolar cells to the brain. The brain then sends motor neurons that cause the participant to click the button. An unhealthy reaction time, one greater than 300 milliseconds, suggests visual or audio impairments, brain diseases or disorders, or injury. Having a healthy reaction time is important in many sports. In track and swimming, athletes need to quickly react to the starting gun to get a good start. In ball sports, players need to quickly react to fast-moving objects. Having a healthy reaction time is also important on the road, as drivers can quickly identify and avoid any sudden hazards. Here's a trippy visual illusion. Focus on the white dot on the left circle. It looks like the central dot is moving up and down, however, it's actually just moving in a circle. Now, focus on the white dot on the top circle. It looks like the central dot is moving side to side. However, it's still just moving in a circle. In this illusion, the true motion of the central circle is always unchanging. It simply rotates around the central point. However, the added motion of the surrounding circles leads the perceived motion of the central circle to appear pulled and distorted. Even though it is continuously rotating, by fixating on the white dot, the central circle can appear to move up and down and left and right. We can confirm that the central circle is always rotating simply by looking right at it. This goes to show that our surroundings and environment play a strong role in how we perceive certain things. Our last game involves an auditory illusion. Everyone can participate in this one. Participants are instructed to listen to the piano audio of a TV theme song they are familiar with. We will be listening to the SpongeBob SquarePants theme. See if you can hear any of the lyrics. Despite the absence of a singer, most of you probably heard the lyrics. This auditory illusion occurs because the brain falsely perceives something that does not exist. Many auditory illusions result from hearing sound patterns that are highly probable, even though they are heard incorrectly. This is due to the influence of our knowledge and experience of the many sounds we have heard. This explains why we sometimes mishear things in our world today. When we are so familiar with something, our brain tends to fill in information that actually does not exist. Let's recap. The gloved hand illusion demonstrated the concept of neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to form and reorganize synaptic connections. When combining the visual information with touch sensations, the brain mistakenly concludes that the gloved hand must be a part of the person's body. The Stroop test explained the delay when processing incongruent stimuli. This delay happens because reading, a more powerful automatic process, takes precedence over color naming, which requires higher cognitive demands. The reaction time test demonstrated the basic cognitive processes of perception and response execution. The spinning circle illusion proved how our surroundings and environment influence our perception of certain things to a great degree. Finally, the piano auditory illusion showed how our brains falsely perceive information that does not exist, as many auditory illusions result from hearing sound patterns that are highly probable. This shows how our knowledge of songs can influence the things we hear.
Yeah!